Hey guys, it's Logan Freeman and
Alex Olson.
with Clemens Real Estate coming to you live on another Kansas City multifamily minute. Alex, how was your weekend, man?
It was a blast. Can't ask for anything more out here in beautiful Kansas City.
Ooh, the weather was great and it was fantastic. I unfortunately am not as athletic as I used to be and went up for a windmill dunk and AKA a layup and popped my ankle really, really bad. So spent some time in the urgent care yesterday and am hobbling around. But I'm not going to let that get me down, man. It's all in the mind, right? So
Right, you don't need your legs.
no, for what? Chasing around two kids, no big deal. Anyways, other than that, we're doing great. We had some great action and activity last week. We closed a 41-unit apartment complex through COVID, which was awesome. We've got another 18 units closing this Friday. Knock on the wood. We should be good there. Super excited about that. And we have the Walnut East apartments that it looks like it's also going to be going under contract for not one of our clients, but it's going to be off the market. So product is moving fast, and we're continuing to transact here in Kansas City. So it's one of these things where, as a broker and an agent, you do the same amount of work for the lesser amount of reward. But we're not going to take our foot off the gas, because when things do clear back up, when this dust settles, we're going to have this in place. We've been building relationships, processes, systems, so we can continue to serve our clients, which is you, on a regular basis. So we're here taking action. We're really excited about some of these opportunities that we've got to bring to you guys today. But first, I thought maybe we would talk a little bit about some Kansas City rent growth. And that might sound a little contrarian right now, but yes, Kansas City is holding strong in multifamily rent growth, number 2 in the country. So there's an article that we have posted that the tagline is "The Rent Decline Continues," and I added ... but not in Kansas City. I have continually heard from owners and sponsors that their portfolios' rents are increasing, and they continue to increase, implementing their value add strategy even during the pandemic. And I'm seeing that true on projects that we're purchasing as well. So I was pleasantly surprised to find some data that actually backs that up, right? So the nationwide average rent in June fell by $2 from its May level to $14.57 per month. While that seems modest, it's occurring during a time of the year when multifamily housing rents usually are rising. So this is the third monthly drop in a row, bringing the total of decline since January to $12 on a year-over-year basis. The average rent change also turned negative with a decline of 0.4%. So Yardi Matrix released its June 2020 report on the multifamily rental housing market, and it's continuing to show softness in the market, right? So that sounds pretty bleak, right? But hang in there with us. The unemployment rate in June fell by 2.2 percentage points to a level of 11.1%, with the non-farm payroll employment rising by 4.8 million during the month. Kansas City thankfully capitalizes on a lot of that. So this report focuses on the 30 largest metro areas and ranks them both by average rent growth over the last 12 months and also by rent growth in 2 subclasses of apartments. One of them is which we focus on. So there's renters by necessity, or what you're going to hear me call RBN, that asset class, and then the lifestyle renter by choice asset class. And so Phoenix is the highest rent growth right now, coming at 4%, but right behind it is Kansas City, Missouri at 3.5%, and then Indianapolis right behind that, and someplace called Inland Empire. I have no idea where that's at, but they're increasing.
I've never been there.
Yeah, I have not either, but they're increasing by 3.1%. So, the good news is that all of these rates of growth are up from those recorded last month. So in the RBN, or workforce housing portion of the multifamily housing market, it held up again better in June than did the lifestyle portion. And so most of the deals that we're transacting are in that affordable housing style. It's not these Class A multifamily properties that are highly amenitized and people are wanting to live in them by choice. And so we've got some more data for you guys to digest. The whole report is available if that's something that you're interested in. But really excited to see that Kansas City is holding up strong. Anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I think you said it all in terms of the rent growth in Kansas City. We hear it all the time anecdotally from our clients.
Right.
We get asked it all the time from out-of-state clients like, well, I don't know, rent collection, I don't know, it seems pretty bad in my area. Well, historically, over the last several months in Kansas City, the rent collection has been great.
Yes. So not only is rent growth continuing to expand, rent collections are still strong here too. Now, we're going to be watching what happens with the government passing potentially the next CARES Act, which will be the HEALS Act or something along those lines. We don't foresee the same amount of unemployment benefits being at $600, but we do see it maybe being half of that and maybe based on income. Additionally, you have to remember that close to 90% of the folks in the United States are still working, right? So just, that's something to think about. If our unemployment's at 11%, sure, it seems high, but that's still 89 to 90% of folks are still working. So multifamily has continued to be a strong asset class. One of the things that we want to talk about today is actually another asset class that we do a lot of work in, which is the triple net lease side. So a triple net lease is a property that typically has what we'll call, are the ones that we focus on, have service-based, e-commerce resistant tenants. So think about Family Dollars, Dollar Generals, service-based companies like architecture firms, engineering firms, maybe a restaurant or two in there, maybe a nail salon potentially, pet stores, those types of things that, are essentially a little more resistant to e-commerce than maybe some of the big box retailers that you might hear about. A triple net lease property has some benefits, right? So that means, what is a triple net lease? It means that you as the landlord have a tenant in a lease in place with those tenants that they pay for the taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance on the property. And so we're always talking about mailbox money. And triple net lease properties on the active side are definitely what we will call the closest to mailbox money, unless you're getting into some sort of equity participation or syndication with a group. And so I like triple net lease properties for a couple different reasons. They require minimal management. They're favored by reliable tenants. They can be stable investments, and they offer diversification. And so these properties, when I say neighborhood retail shopping centers, think about a big housing development. All of those people, they need to go somewhere and shop. Maybe there's a grocery store in one of them. They need to go somewhere and get their services, their tires changed, all of these different things. And maybe there's a pad site on there that allows them to go through a drive-through, Chick-fil-A or, a Chipotle, Panera, that type of stuff. These properties are trading at a much higher cap rate than the multifamily properties are. Obviously, we love multifamily, but for folks that are completing 1031 exchanges into triple net lease properties or looking for mailbox money, this can be a really great opportunity for folks to diversify some of their portfolio. So we've got a couple properties that we want to kind of talk through, and I'm going to let you start, Alex, and then I'll jump into two that I really like, and feel free to add anything that you want to on the triple net lease side as well.
Yeah, on the triple net lease side, the other thing I really like about it is it's a great first-time investment into a market, because you don't have the property management style of phone calls or information back to you of plug toilets or all those different maintenance kind of issues. You have actual adults taking care of these properties, and so your headaches are a lot fewer, and you don't really have to do it. Like you said, it's mailbox money. So that's one of the things that I really like about these as investment. And these also, and we'll talk a little bit about the prices here, these aren't $10 million deals,
right?
So it's not like they're over your head or something that you can't afford. These are in line with what you're looking for on the exchange side. And so speaking of that, I have a property, a triple net lease property in Blue Springs that is relatively new. Actually, it's very new, especially when you compare it to the multifamily here in Kansas City. It was built in 2004. It's 100% leased, and they're all e-commerce resistant businesses. So like a cleaner, like a tanning salon, all these different things you can't go online to get. And it's located in Blue Springs, so that's a hot market. It's a great school district here around town. I live close by,
Yep.
so highly recommend you scoping that out as a great option. The purchase price is only 1.54 million, so it's very affordable and mailbox money.
Fantastic. Location is paramount with these properties, right? So the risks that you need to think through when thinking about triple net lease property is, okay, how much time is left on the leases? What's the credit worthiness of those tenants? What's the tenant mix? And where's the location? All things that good brokers and agents can help you think through from a business strategy perspective. So Blue Springs obviously is a really great location to have a neighborhood retail shopping center. It's continuing to grow. And, we love the neighborhood piece of where that is located. It's always fun to zoom out on Google Maps on a triple net lease property and see all of the houses all around that. And so I think that's a great one. And the age of that property is really, really good. So more details on that property are going to be in our active deals folder. If it's something you want to learn about, simply let us know. The two that I have are in the Northland. And so, when you think about Kansas City, it's kind of separated by the river, the Missouri River. And so when you go north of the river, really typically, you're going up there if you're a Southlander because you need to go to the airport. But it's its own city. It has good school districts. It has a lot of new single-family home development where you can buy a big house for cheap. And so a lot of folks do go up there to raise their families. And the one that we're talking about is a little bit larger property, and it's been recently redeveloped. The major anchor tenant is Family Dollar, but it has a great kind of mix of tenants. It has a pet store. It has obviously Family Dollar. There's a couple there's a restaurant in there, and the cash flow on that property is really, really good. So most of these properties are trading somewhere between 7.5% and 8.5% cap rate, and that's on existing income. And so really what you have to do is think through, like Alex and I mentioned, the business strategy and the plan behind those, but also the tenant mix, and then abstracting the leases. So that's definitely something that we can do for you. We can put those into models for you so you can understand those. But, don't be afraid of triple net lease properties. Really, frankly, they're quite easy to get your head wrapped around. There's just less education around it. And there's really a progression as a real estate investor. Typically, real estate investors start with what I'll call residential, and that's multifamily, maybe even single-family homes, and they get into multifamily, then larger multifamily. And then they end up, you say, hey, man, I added a lot of value on a multifamily property. Let me trade out of that into something that's a little less, time-intensive. So they find some really great triple net lease properties. They buy those. Then after a while, they maybe release the properties or re-sign the leases with the tenants, fill some vacancies if they need to, with a leasing agent, by the way. That's not on you. And then they trade into maybe some industrial or warehousing space that's even more what I'll call hands-off. So there's a natural progression, I feel like, when I'm talking to people that, started there in the multifamily space, went to triple net lease, and then went to maybe industrial or warehousing space. So, if you want more information around these triple net lease properties, just let Alex and myself know. We have another smaller property. I believe it's $675 or maybe it's $625. It's somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000. The one difference in this deal is it has a national credit tenant, Mid-America title loan. So obviously have a lot of locations, really, really strong tenant, but there's only one tenant in that building. And so if you have some boot left in a 1031 exchange, or if you're just looking to get into your first property in Kansas City, buying this property with 5 years left on its lease is going to be a really good opportunity to get some cash flow. And then it's also in an area that is continuing to appreciate in the historic Northeast. So that's what we wanted to showcase today, guys. Properties are moving. Kansas City multifamily rents are increasing. Occupancy is holding strong. We're watching the new Congress and government stimulus to see where that lands. I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that next Monday. But we have some great deal flow. Make sure you go on, fill out our form, book a time to schedule with Alex and I. Check out our active deals folder. Alex, any parting thoughts that you have?
Let's go get it, man. Let's go get the deals, and let's bring the clients in.
I love it. We're looking forward to talking with you guys. Alex, thanks again for spending some time with me on another Multifamily Minute.
Thank you.